Today for science, we're on lesson 2, and it is about magnetism.
Welcome to the lesson, How Strong is a Magnet? In this lesson, you'll investigate how magnets can move objects without touching them. You'll also investigate how distance affects the attraction of a magnet to an object. The house keys fell into the aquarium. The fish bite. How can you get the keys back? Click Jane or John to see what they think. Magnets don't attract objects through glass and water. Let's use a magnet. Continue to see who was right.
So do you think John's right and that the magnet won't go through the glass? Or do you think that Jane's right and that the magnet can go through the glass and get the keys, which are magnetic, and lift it out of the string? Because they can't stick their hands in. Fish will bite them. So they have to use different ways to get the keys out of the fish tank.
An attraction occurs when two objects are pulled towards each other. An attraction may be weak or strong. Click the hand to release the nail. Instead of falling straight down, the nail is attracted to the magnet and moves toward it. A magnet attracts objects that are made of certain metals, mainly iron. Which items are attracted to a magnet? Click your answer.
Think about what you did yesterday with a magnet and which objects that you had used the magnet on were the ones that were stuck to the magnet that were attracted to it. So it's probably like a paper clip or iron nails, the ones that have metal in them were the ones that were attracted, but only some metals. So if you tried it on something and it didn't stick, then that metal must not have a lot of iron in it because that is one of the magnetic
That's right.
metals.
Good job. The nails and the paper clip are attracted to the magnet, but the plastic spoon and the cork are not attracted to the magnet. In this experiment, you'll observe how and when a magnet attracts a paper clip. The paper clip is attached to the table by a string. You'll choose a strong magnet or a weak one and lower it toward the paper clip. Here's what you'll use: a strong and a weak magnet, a paper clip tied to a string attached to the base, a slider to set the magnet's height, a camera. Can a magnet move an object without touching it? In order to move an object, how close does the magnet have to be? Click your answers, then click OK.
So does it have to touch it? Needs not touch it, but must be close enough, or can be any distance. So what do you think? How close does the magnet have to be? I am going to pick right in the middle. Not too, it doesn't have to touch it, but it can't be too far away. That's what I think. But remember, it's a prediction, so I could be wrong.
Continue to see if your prediction is correct. Make a plan. Make a plan to test your prediction. Arrange the steps in the correct order.
All right. Step 1, I need a magnet. Step 2, lower the magnet. Step 3, look at what happens, and then
Very
I need to
good.
take a picture to save
It
as
looks
my
like
data.
you've come up with a good plan. Now it's time to do the experiment and record your data. Choose a magnet.
Okay,
Take a
strong
picture.
magnet.
Use the slider to change the height and record the result. Do the experiment for all 3 heights for each magnet.
Alright, now I'm going to put it at 15 centimeters. This thing is in the way. Oh, okay. And then 10 centimeters. And it's moved again. So 15 and 10, the paperclip was able to get off the ground. Now let's go back to 20 and do the weak magnet. So at 20 centimeters, it doesn't move. 15, still it doesn't move. And 10, it did get off the ground. So 10 centimeters, they both did. 15, only the strong magnet did, and 20 was too high for both of them.
What did you learn about the attraction between a magnet and an object when the two are not touching? How does the attraction of a magnet change as it moves farther away from an object? The following statements are either true or false. Check each statement true or false. When you're done, click OK.
So the first one says a magnet can attract an object without touching it. So in any of these, was the magnet touching the paper clip? Even at the 10 centimeters, it wasn't touching it. So it's true that it can move it without touching it. Then the second one says a magnet's attraction is the same strength at any distance. So at each different height, did the paper clip move the same amount, or does it matter? So the first one at 20 centimeters, neither magnet did anything. So it's not the same strength at any distance. The closer it is, the stronger
Correct.
it is.
A magnet can attract an object without touching it. As the magnet moves away from an object, the attraction becomes weaker. Can magnets attract objects through barriers like wood, glass, and plastic? Click yes or no.
So in our experiment, the magnet could attract it without touching it. So do you think that it can go through the glass and attract the metal?
Continue to see if your prediction is correct.
Touch it to get it through.
Investigate whether magnetic attraction passes through wood, glass, and plastic. First, click None to test the magnet with no barrier in place. Take a picture. Click the Reset button and repeat the steps for the 3 different barriers.
So we know that it works with nothing. Now let's do wood. So the magnet still goes, or the paperclip still rises even with the wood inside, in between. How about plastic? Yep, and glass.
Magnetic attraction
so
passes through many common materials. What about the keys that fell into the aquarium? How can you get the keys out? Can you remember what Jane and John thought? Who do you think was right? Click Jane or John.
So John says magnets don't attract objects through glass and water. And Jane says let's use a magnet. So we just saw that the magnet went through the glass on the last page. So
Magnets can attract objects through glass. Watch as Jane gets the keys out of the aquarium. You've learned a lot about how magnets attract objects. Before we finish this lesson, let's take a quick look at some of the main points you covered. You saw how magnets can move objects without touching them. You explored how increasing distance affects the attraction of a magnet to an object. You investigated how magnets can attract objects through barriers. Now that you've finished the lesson, click the lab report button to save or print it.
Alright, you don't have to do that, and it won't let me save it on the iPad. So as you did it on Think Central, like on your iPad or computer, it automatically saves and I can see it. And if you just watched the video, then you're finished watching the video, and all you need to do now is take the lesson 2 quiz in your quiz packet. So page 51. It's like 4 or 5 questions.